Well, we're talking about a physical neighborhood called Chinatown. Pender Street might be one of the most family community-oriented street.
I've been walking up and down Pender Street from that area to our shop for the last 85 years, say, yeah. I think I have gone up and down Pender Street more than anybody else.
I've been here since the early 60s. I was here during a time when Chinatown was incredibly vibrant, where on weekends it was 4 to 6 deep. You can barely walk on the sidewalks. So I think that's what made it so unique.
First I thought it wasn't a choice about being in Chinatown, but now that I reflect on it, ever since I've been coming to Vancouver, I've always loved Chinatown. I always loved Chinatowns in every city. The historical aspect, the cultural aspect, the fact that it's got a feeling of condensed, localized energy about it that is usually, it sets it apart from other types of neighborhoods. The things that are character and what make Chinatown appealing are disappearing.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a facade, right? Chinatown is right now. It's advertising itself like any other Chinatown in any other city, but when you get here, you're probably, I would say, drastically disappointed. So as Eureka was saying, I saw about 7 businesses close down in the last month, and it's crazy. From a child, every store right next to each other was a different, wonderful business. You couldn't tell one from the other almost, whereas now I'm identifying which ones have each item.
In the old days, there's about 24 tailors on Pender Street, Main, Hastings. We're the only tailor around here now. I guess the tailors find that it's hard making a living that way. There's a less and less demand for tailoring.
I mean, there used to be restaurants across the street, down the street, up all over, and now there may be this one and maybe another one on Kiefer Street.
And this restaurant, Fu's Ho Ho, it's a supper. This restaurant's main business is supper after 6 o'clock. Well, after 6 o'clock, nobody dared to come down here because this place was littered with junkies. People were shooting up, people were just hanging out, and so on, and people were afraid. And for a lot of these restaurants, any of the remnant Chinese restaurants on its heyday, they all left, they all died.
My name's Joanne Sam. I'm the Fu Ho Ho restaurant, the owner. Before, my husband do a lot of cooking, right? And I just help him outside or a little bit, do a little bit like telephone and shopping a little bit. Like, and he passed away, and I have to do everything in the restaurant. I don't know I can handle or not.
But you've got like Fu Ho Ho's that huge, humongous press in the local papers about, hey, this is our last ditch at this place, you know. It was everything that was quintessential to Chinatown as far as a dining establishment at its time, for its time. But obviously Vancouver's not supporting it. Otherwise it would just continue. And that is a bit tearing for me. It's a sad thing.
I mean, Fu's Ho Ho is, and the friends of Fu's Ho Ho, what we're trying very much to do is to tell people in some ways that you cannot divest the history and the roots and the origin of the community from the community itself. Chinatown doesn't exist without the history. What is manifested as a problem for the survival of this restaurant is
a larger question for the entire community.
There is also some of the not so great aspect, from the downtown east side, social issues, so-called drug addiction problems at nearby communities. So that has cast a shadow, onto Chinatown.
People are afraid to come down to Chinatown because of Hastings Street. It has a bad reputation, Hastings Street.
It affects the people that work down here. It affects the people that are coming to visit the neighborhood.
A lot of people don't live down here anymore. They live out in, all over Vancouver. They were down here. That's where they lived.
If their kids don't want to take on the business and move it along for the next 20 years, then that's just done, right? That operator could hand it over to another operator. They'll never do it the same way it should have been done.
I talk to a lot of the owners here, and they're frustrated by they started their families and their kids don't want to work in the stores, So when is that generation going to step up and say, we want to save our own heritage, or do they want to move away from it and, kind of become more Canadian and spread out their culture in other new ways?
Because all these people have gone and made themselves success in whatever endeavor that they've done. The children have grown up, many of them have PhDs and so on. Well, they haven't really ingrained them into the cultural history, and maybe that's our fault. We're part of the problem. We didn't promote this place properly. There's so much history.
I don't know, I look at something like San Francisco Chinatown, and for some reason it seems like all of that old world charm is still there. It's not going anywhere. And I don't know how that's any different and how it could be any different here.
I lived in Chicago, and each 10 blocks had a core. It was self-sustaining. It had everything. You could live your life out within those 10 blocks and be very well content. And I think that's the ideal of what communities are built with, and that's what we're talking about, a soul.
Well, it's not just, say, Chinatown as a family business or Chinatown as a, physical location. There's a network, walking down the street, there's familiar faces or people that you could greet. The neighborhood really is the people.
We are seeing a return to the nightlife. If more and more people start coming down to Chinatown, then obviously, it will make sense for the shops to open later.
We have to have a new face in order to attract new people, the young people, but also then you can educate them about the old, ways, but be like it can be cool.
You always have to be a step ahead, know the trend and do what the customer wants and do a little bit of innovation on the side.
Is it something that is an artifact? Is it just a museum? Or is it Disneyland? Is it something that we can look at as a fantasy, something in the past that's cute and interesting, where people come here and take photographs of themselves? And you say, I've been here, or this is a place where you can take your relatives to come out and visit. What is it?
10 years from now on, I will see new leadership, younger leadership who has a better understanding and of how to integrate mainstream and other ethnic minority with Chinatown. And Chinatown, I don't see how Chinatown can cut a certain niche out of the existing market. So I certainly believe that the future of Chinatown is absolutely positive.